Over the last several weeks, we've been on a journey of discovering faith. We've been talking about what faith was and how it is really a breakdown of the past, present, and future coming together. And then we started talking about what is saving faith. And last week, we talked about what is faithfulness. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to complete that trilogy with a discussion on the gift of faith. Hello, devoted geeks, and welcome to Geek Devotions, a show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved. I'm Dallas. I'm so glad you've hit the play button today. If you are new to our show, we take geek pop culture items like movies, video games, comic books, and we use them to let people know that they're loved. So if you don't watch past this moment of this, we love you, we care about you. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Do not give up. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're finishing our series of discovering faith, and it's really just in time because next week will be the final episode of season 9 of Geek Devotions, meaning the following week, ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting season 10, meaning we are officially 9 years of every single Friday putting out a devotion based in geek culture designed to let people know love, they're cared for, that there's a plan and a purpose for their lives. And it has been an amazing 9 years. I cannot wait for the start of season 10. But today, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into our conversation. We're wrapping up our discussion on faith, discovering faith. I really want to encourage you guys, if you haven't watched the previous episodes, check out the playlist below and check out what we've been talking about, because it's been a really fascinating conversation that I hope has blessed you and encouraged you as you yourself have been growing in your faith with Jesus. But today we're going to talk about something fascinating. It's what we call the gift of faith. Now, this idea of the gift of faith comes from the book of Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 specifically. Paul's laying out several gifts that are given to the church as a whole, and they're meant to do certain things. They're all meant to empower the church, to equip the church, to help the church complete its mission, which is to help people turn to Jesus. All these gifts are based in the conversation of love, that if you don't have love, then none of the gifts really matter. Like they're just clanging cymbals. And one of those gifts is this thing called the gift of faith. Now, to me, this particular gift is interesting because I don't foresee people operating in like the gifts of miracles or prophecy or anything else without first walking in the gift of faith. This is something that is substantial. It's a cornerstone that honestly a lot of these other giftings sit upon. So what is the gift of faith? Well, let's break it down in our structure of past, present, and future. Just like saving faith and faithfulness, the gift of faith is not something we manufacture. It's not something that we create ourselves, but rather it's something that is present well beforehand. It has roots in the past, and that root is God himself. In Mark chapter 11, Jesus is walking down the road and he sees a fig tree and it doesn't have any figs, so he curses it. And when they come back, the thing's withered and died out. And his disciples are freaking out. They're like, how could this happen, Jesus? How did you do this? And Jesus says something really interesting in Mark chapter 11, verse 22 through 23. Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. The words have faith in God are interesting because within the original Greek, the way it plays out, there's a better way of translating it that a lot of commentators have put it out, and that's simply this: have God's faith. Operating the gift of faith requires us to understand that this is not our faith. This isn't something we have created and manufactured, but rather we are operating under the very faith of God himself given to us. An interesting way for us to illustrate this is to look at the series My Hero Academia. In that series, you have a young man named Midoriya who has no special abilities. He's not a superhero of any kind. But one day he meets somebody he looks up to, a man that he's put faith in over the years, and that man is named All Might. And All Might looks at him and he gives Midoriya a quirk. He gives him this ability that we call the One for All. This wasn't something Midoriya created himself and didn't originate inside of him, but it originated from All Might. It was passed down to him. And with that, Midoriya is opened up to a brand new world of being able to operate in certain things. For us to operate in the gift of faith, we have to have the firm foundation, the firm understanding that this is not something we can create or do ourselves. This is a supernatural faith that is from outside of us coming through us. When we have the grounding understanding of the past where this is not our stuff, there now is the emotional thing that takes place, the present, as we've talked about in the past, which is that we need to understand the gravity of what we're walking in. That gravity of understanding this is not ours actually does something fascinating for us. It gives us the ability to walk in authority, but also with humility. When you look at the book of Acts, you see God's people, his disciples, and they're doing various things. But in Acts chapter 3, his apostles, they find themselves in an interesting situation where they have healed a man who has been lame. He's not been able to move for many, many years. And they heal him, and people are looking at them and they're freaking out. They're in shock that these disciples, these apostles have done this. And what takes place in Acts chapter 3 is interesting. Verse 12. And when Peter saw it, he addressed the people, "Men of Israel, why do you wonder at this? Or why do you stare at us, as though by our own power and piety we have made him walk?" The people we see operating within the gift of faith, they're not walking around saying, "Look at me, look how great I am amazing," but rather they're saying, "Whoa, pump the brakes. This isn't me. I didn't manufacture this. This is purely because of God. This is what God has done. Yes, God has used me, but this is not my thing. God is the one that's doing this work." When we operate in the gift of faith, we have to be sure to walk in this humility. We can't walk in pride. And at the same time, if I could warn you of the danger of walking in false pride, or false humility rather, where we almost take to an extent where we're pushing away, going, "Oh, no, it's not me. It's not me. No. And it becomes almost if by you putting yourself down, it becomes a grander version of pride in a way. If somebody says thank you, say you're welcome and move forward. Don't make a big ordeal about it. Yes, understand that God's the one who's doing it. is the one that gets all the glory. But don't put on this false pride as if you're not part of the process either. God is using you. And he's using you for a purpose. Now, don't walk around with the mindset of like, this is all my doing. There's a balance here, guys. In the series My Hero Academia, Midoriya has to carry this line. He walks with this understanding of this a massive amount of power that lies within him. And as he works to understand this ability, works to understand this power that he now has and what he can do with it, there is the danger of being prideful, of going, yes, I am the greatest superhero in the world, but rather instead of doing that, he walks in humility, understanding that he doesn't fully understand things, and this isn't his thing alone, but rather a gift given to him. And he still needs the people around him. So walking with the gift of faith requires A, to understand that this is not our own thing, but B, also to walk with authority, but humility at the same time, which now brings us to the future aspect. What do we do with this? How do we walk this out? Operating in the gift of faith, that future aspect, we're now stepping out not under our own power or under our own will, but going, this is God. God's doing this. He's the one that's calling us out onto the water. He's the one calling us to pray for the sick. He's the one calling us to do these things. And it's going to be his power that holds us up on the water. It's going to be his power that brings the healing. It's going to be his power that tells the mountain to move and it to be moved completely, not us. Giving us a level of safety, a level of security, a level of going, I'm just doing what I've been told. God's going to do what he's going to do. Now, where people get in trouble is that they, again, lean back into this conversation of pride and they go, well, I'm the man of God, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And look, trusting God's one thing, but when you're boastfully saying, I'm going to do this, as if you're manipulating God to do a thing, there's a problem. So operating in faith, the gift of faith, requires you to be really connected with the Lord, which leans back into several other conversations about being in prayer, being in the scriptures, checking our heart, examining what's going on, being repentant, having a community to hold us accountable, to hold us in check, to make sure we're walking what God really has for us. Now, a really special thing about the gift of faith is what takes place beyond us stepping out with that gift of faith active. Because when you step out and you pray for somebody and there's a healing that takes place or there's a provision that takes place, now because you're not going, yes, I provided this, but you're going, this was all Jesus. This is what God has done. This is how God has provided. Now you are providing a testimony of who God is, of what God has done. And that testimony is now going to reside in the person that stirs inside of them. And hopefully with the drawing of the Holy Spirit leads them to repent to God and then operating in what we call saving faith. And as they continue to walk this walk with Jesus and begin to hear the stories of God's faithfulness, the time that God took care of this, the time God took care of that, the time that God used a person to operate in the gift of faith to pray for them so that they could experience provision in some fashion that led them to be saved, because all these things mount up, then they begin to walk in faithfulness. And those who walk in faithfulness are those that God looks at and goes, here is a gift of faith. Going back to our illustration of My Hero Academia, what's special about the quirk, One for All, is not that All Might gave it to Midoriya, but rather it was given to All Might from his mentor, and it was given to his mentor from their mentor, back and back and back. It recycles and moves through each person, raising up new heroes, new generations. For you right now, operating in the gift of faith, stepping out of that, what you don't realize is you're laying down the groundwork for somebody to get saved, and for them to operate within what we call saving faith, and then for them to walk in faithfulness, and then God to use them with the gift of faith so they can go on to help somebody experience saving faith, and then they walk in the gift of faithfulness, and then they in turn walk in the gift of faith. You see the importance of it. Discovering Faith, the series, what we've been doing, is not just about you as an individual personally and being a happy Christian, but rather about you being equipped to reach the next generation, to help expand the kingdom of God, to help people experience hope and salvation, and to know that God genuinely loves them and cares about them. I want to encourage you guys, so as you've been kind of following through the series, maybe this is the first episode you've watched, go back and watch these previous episodes. But within this realm of saving faith, faithfulness, and then operating in the gift of faith, if you're struggling with it, maybe you need prayer, guys, let us know. Leave comments in the comment section. Let us know how we can pray with you, how we can encourage you. Let us know how we can help you take your next step with God. I want to encourage you guys, get plugged into a community. Every single stage of this thing that we've been talking about, of discovering faith, it involves you being in a community, a local body who can help you to go through the scriptures, to grow, to learn to pray, to worship God appropriately. Guys, Celeste and I love you dearly. We care about you. Geek Devotions exists to tell people that they're loved and they're cared for. But it's not so that you can come watch our YouTube channel every single week. All right? We're not making money off of YouTube. We have patrons who help support us, yes. But we're not here to be famous. We're here to equip you to be whole so you can go and help other people be whole. Our genuine joy comes to us when we hear stories about you devoted geeks taking what you've learned, applying it in your life, and going on and replicating it in other people and helping other people experience the exact same things. Question of the week for you guys. How was this series for you? What did you think of it, of this Discovering Faith series? Was it encouraging to you? Was it challenging to you? Did you like us doing this kind of picking a topic and breaking it down the way we did? Leave a comment and let us know. We would genuinely love to hear your thoughts. I also remind you guys that there's a lot of things happening. Like I said, next week will be the final episode of season 9 of Geek Devotions, meaning the following week we start season 10. And then in the beginning of August, Celeste and I are going to be at the Credo Homeschool Convention. And then later in August, we're going to be at GeekCon here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And we're doing these things to accomplish the mission, letting people know that they're loved and they're cared for. And if you would like to be part of that process, if you'd like to help support us, help us to be able to get to conventions, help us to be able to get the equipment and the things that we use to make these devotions, go to our website, geekdevotions.com. Click our support page where you can become a devoted Patreon geek, or you can give a one-time gift, or you can help provide some of the equipment that we have in our Amazon wish list. However you decide to help us, thank you. We genuinely appreciate you and these other amazing devoted Patreon geeks that you see on the screen. That said, if you can't support us financially, you can support us in a major way by praying for us, encouraging us, sharing the content out with people, taking part in the community, talking in our Discord channel, talking in our Facebook group. Being present, guys, helps us tremendously. If you want more information about Geek Devotions, check our website, geekdevotions.com. Plug in with our social medias. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We got a Devoted Geek Life Facebook group. We have the Discord channel. We have our every week live stream on Twitch and YouTube called our Monday Night Play and Praise, where we have fun together. Check those out and be present, guys. Until next time, stay devoted. Peace and love.